loud and aggressive. And then I will introduce you, and then we'll begin. Do you have anything? Are you good? You ready? Ready?
Good.
Let's go. Okay. So I'm gonna do now. Okay. So hi, my name's Nicole, or Cole, or Magical, wherever you may know me from, and this is my little corner of the internet where I share yoga and witchy tips and many other things. And this is my friend Carly, and today we're talking about witchy or maybe more natural wellness tips that you can incorporate into your life, things that have made a difference for Carly and myself at the end, and things that are really easy that you might look over in our everyday lives, but definitely make a very big impact. I met Carly online, I think through my vinyasa practice, which is really
Oh
cool.
yeah.
It's so cool because I'm about to be done with my 500 hour like next month. And it's just like that will be like me walking away from my vinyasa. Like I'm done with them after that because there's nothing else they can really offer me at this time. But that's just really cool that we met that way. But I believe we're both students currently with them.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So,
Yes.
yes, we're both currently students with them. So that's fun. I feel like I have a school friend, even though it's online. I love
Right.
it. It's so nice. I was like, I feel so alone in this.
It's a weird thing, yeah,
It's so
for sure.
strange. When I went to a local yoga studio, they were like, "Oh, you're certified?" I was like, "Yeah, I got certified like during the height of everything." And they were like, "Oh, that must have been interesting." I was like, I was alone. I was so lonely. I was like, I wanted to go to like Costa
Yeah,
Rica with all you other people and
right.
just nature.
I was in my living room.
I had a block in my laptop and I was typing. And I was like, this is great. That's what I wanted.
Right.
But I'm gonna allow Carly to, introduce herself for those of you who may not know her and plug herself as she should rightfully. So yeah, whatever you want to say, introduce yourself.
Okay, hi, my name's Carly. I grew up in a very small town, tourist town. We bonded over that too. Um, I did not grow up with like a very large focus on just about anything I'm really focused on now. I wasn't crazy about health and wellness, wasn't necessarily crazy about exercising. I wasn't like lazy. I like to play outside, but I just like to play. Uh, I always loved animals, but I actually used to be terrified of birds, absolutely horrified. The first time we got chicks, like I would pick them up and my heart would just
I was
race.
gonna say you have chickens.
So like that was just a huge hurdle, but now like I always want chickens.
They're so sweet.
So like yeah, I grew up with like none of that. Um, grew up eating, like standard American diet, Pop-Tarts all the time, all the good
Same,
stuff that's
same,
not good stuff.
same.
And I don't really know how it came about. I know how the fitness aspect came together for me. Eventually I started with Pop Pilates. If you've ever seen like Blogilates on YouTube, great
Yes.
free resource. Started with that and then got into weightlifting and going into the gym actually. And that's how I discovered like that was my first introduction to like nutrition. Because
Yes.
if you're in the gym enough, then you hear about macros.
Mhm.
And that just opens like a little door to everything else.
Oh my god, I love that that specifically was like your gateway into all of this. That is amazing.
Right?
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's interesting. It's a different entryway for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so funny now because like I was the same and I was also we talked about it in the other event so I won't get too much into it, but I was also raised like vegan when being vegan was like very much like tofu and beans and rice and like everyone wonders why my tum tum was always super sad as a kid, and they were like, "It's lactose intolerant. Give her the lactate." And I was like, "This doesn't help me. Why can't I eat bread? Why not even the bread?" but
Yeah.
standard American diet was not great, but especially not great for that. Um, but in terms of like hearing where you were and knowing, because where you are now, like holistically, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Homesteady to complete opposite.
Yeah. Like my parents, they grew up near Chicago.
Hmm.
So they moved way out into the woods, not necessarily their idea. And growing up, it was like going to school where I grew up, it was like speaking, I felt like I spoke a different language. My parents did not hunt and they did not fish. They did not know anything about that.
Really?
Everybody else at my school did. So like hunting season would come around, I'm like, what is happening?
What's happening?
Like, what are these numbers? What are you talking? Why is it like, what is happening? Everybody's so like stoked. Didn't understand it, didn't get it.
Oh my
We
god.
had dogs, that's it.
That's crazy.
But I don't even know how it like I really found it.
Mhm.
What really got me interested, I found this amazing family on YouTube, the Rhodes family.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I completely fell in love. And
Yes.
like I just got obsessed and I'm like, it's not that hard to have
It's
chickens.
not. It's not that hard to have chickens.
No, if like especially if you got a little yard, you can have one or two
You can
chickens.
have a couple chickens. That's so
Yeah.
true.
And now and it's a slippery slope because now I want to have a cow one day.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
it's a slope. It
Yes.
is.
You end up falling through this rabbit hole when I got into like health and wellness. I wanted to do everything all at once. I was like I want the big yard, I want a big house. When can I afford it? And I'm like early 20s. I'm like I can afford it now, right? But it would have been nice. But it's definitely gateway for sure. I don't know because I know we're both, as the kids call, crunchy. I don't know how I got to being crunchy. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know. I don't know where that slope came in about from here.
Right.
But I did end up here. I couldn't tell you how though.
I'm the same way because like literally growing up, I was the kid that laughed at the crunchy kids
Same.
who were being raised crunchy like
Same.
against their will. I'd be like, your mom
Kids.
doesn't let you have Pop-Tarts?
Lame.
Like
How
that's
dare.
lame. Like
Yeah. And then you give them a little and you're like, here, 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 come to the other side, not knowing what
yeah,
you're doing.
like a dealer like here, I brought the sugar and the cornstarch.
Yes! That's so my mom, it was so interesting. My mom was extremely vegan but also crunchy. So like my school lunches were like honey wheat bread, which again at the time was crunchy, soy cheese and soy mayonnaise. So all the kids were like I was like, "Does anyone want this really good sandwich? It's I promise it's like really really yummy." And they would be like, it doesn't smell good. I was like, ah, details. Move past the smell.
So close.
I remember the first time I had a piece of a Pop Tart because the school like felt bad for me and they were like, here, here, have this. And I was like, what? How does she? How could she? What is she doing?
Right?
Now, I think in my adulthood, I had a Pop Tart maybe once or twice. Not recently at all, like early 20s, when I was still drinking and consuming a lot of
Yeah.
alcohol. And I felt awful
Oh yeah.
immediately.
Oh yeah.
Immediately. And now I look at the sugar of things and I'm like, I used to eat things with 26 grams of sugar in one sitting. What? Like 5
In like
grams?
maybe one or two servings.
Yeah, yeah. I'm the drinks that I used to get at the Starbucks when I was like 14. Please, the frappuccinos. Good God.
Oh, Java chip.
Yes, I used to. Yes, I used to be obsessed with Java chip.
Recovering sugar food addict. Now I don't have it unless I make it now.
Yes, yes. I need to be the one making it because at least I know exactly how much is in it. Then it's fine. But
And on the bright side then, if you want to play with the sugar, that's the fun of baking. A lot of things you can cut it back and it tastes just as sweet and just as good.
I found that with coffee too because I do maybe not even 5% of the sugar that maybe Starbucks used to do, and I find it not super sweet, but I like a contrast now in my almost 30 with like sweet and bitter. I like that. Whereas my husband will take a
Yeah,
sip and be like, it's disgusting. It's not sweet. It's bitter. It's bean. Bleh, I hate it. And I'm like, you dirty addict. You need help.
too funny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track. But anyway, it kind of relates to what we're talking about
It's
because
within.
yes, you know what? Segue because a lot of the things in terms of like diet or things when I say diet for me, I consider everything that I ingest. So I don't only ingest my food. I ingest everything in my environment if we're talking in a holistic sense. So I spun it around so you can't be mad at me. But when it came to my diet, there were a lot of little simple changes that I made that were actually, now thinking back, inspired by like paganism, because paganism is very close or related to being as close to earth as possible. So there's a lot of cooking everything by yourself. There's a lot of, people say potions, but it's like apothecary stuff, like mixing essential oils, making your own herb and spice blends, like stuff like that. So it's really just encouraging you to get in your kitchen and make everything yourself. So I feel like maybe that was my gateway into all of this, now that I think back on it, actually. Because I was like, oh, look at me, I'm a little
Yeah.
wizard, look at me. And then I was like, wait, actually, maybe this is pretty good for me.
Oh, okay. This is like fun and good.
Yeah, it's like I'm magical, but also like this is very beneficial to my health.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and part of it for me, it kind of it started more almost when I actually tried when I was changing like my diet. It started almost more like scientific and then moved into this is like magic. I was raised by a nurse who was raised by another nurse and
Really?
was in nursing school. Um, so I did kind of like have an approach like normal standard approach to everything. I had stomach issues for a couple years, and I'd go to the doctor a couple years. They'd give me like the same crappy, not helpful answers that weren't
Yes.
really anything.
Gut answers were never helpful, especially a couple years ago. Nothing. They would give you
No,
nothing.
no one, I don't think anyone ever asked me what I was eating.
Exactly.
And I was going for like 3, 4 years, and I was having horrible nausea. Like, and I
Yes.
would like wake up dry heaving.
See, that's not normal. It's crazy to me that we believe that that's fine and dandy, and then in maybe 2 decades, someone comes in and they have a disease or cancer, and we're like, oh my god, how did this happen?
Where did that come
Where could we have done better? No, it's not us. It's just that's the human body. Meanwhile, in other countries, a lot of people do not have those problems. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's
right.
not.
So somehow I managed to, thank goodness, put that together and like somehow kind of started to eat better. It was in combination with looking at macros because I was doing that at the same time. So I was trying to eat more protein, which is like almost always a good thing to do.
Oh,
That's usually a
absolutely,
great place to start.
absolutely,
More protein.
absolutely. If just as a
And
little tidbit, if you think you're eating enough protein, like I thought I was eating enough protein, you are probably not.
like yeah, if you are capable of tracking what you eat without that being a negative thing for you, try it just to see what
Just
you
to
eat
see,
on a normal basis, to
just to
see
see,
what you eat.
just to
Just
see.
to know. Do
Yeah,
it for like 2, 3 days and be like, I'm really not eating that much protein, or like, oh, I am getting enough protein. That's good. Like maybe
yeah,
I should eat some healthy fat.
yeah. I know when
Whatever.
I did that for the first time, I was eating like maybe half the amount of protein I should be eating. And I looked
Hmm.
back because I've always been posting food that I cook. I looked back from like 4 years ago of a plate I posted, and it had like this much chicken on it. And I was like, I thought that was fine. I thought that was okay. Now more than half my plate is the meats and the
Oh yeah.
proteins, and then the other
Oh
half
yeah.
is like the veg and all that good stuff. But that was crazy to me. My friend said that to me in a snarky way once, and I was like, "No, you're wrong." He was right. But that if you can never track for a reason, like I couldn't track for a long time, and I ended up doing it, I think, as an experiment like 2 years ago, and then I was like, oh,
Hmm.
ooh, ooh, my heart is pretty, for women's fertility and like reproductive health especially, protein. Just so you know, protein,
Yeah.
big
And
one.
I guess another one, if you don't want to actually track like calories, if that's too much, a little more of an investment, you could get a continuous glucose monitor, which would be
Yes,
different,
yes,
but still super duper helpful.
yes,
Really want to
absolutely.
do that. I haven't tried it.
That would be so
But
interesting.
in my pursuit of like protein and slowly learning what it is to eat better,
Mm,
I started to just play around with things like maybe I should try not eating gluten because so many people have a problem with it. Maybe
yeah,
I just started to pay attention more,
yeah.
and I was incorporating more mindfulness in general,
Mhm.
and I started to notice certain things, and I sadly came to the realization that I have at least some degree of lactose intolerance. So like conventional dairy, no good. Probably why I would wake up nauseous all the time because I used to drink at least a whole pint of milk with dinner like every night.
Oh, that's like a very standard American thing. That's like a
Exactly.
very American thing. But
Like Dot Milk, the milk mustache campaigns. Like, did you know that that campaign got sued
really,
and that's why it disappeared, like with no trace? Someone took him to court and was like, "Show me the proof that drinking milk strengthens your bones." And they're like, "Here are the studies, and it increased risks of osteoporosis." So they just like quietly went away.
so that's awful. First of all, I remember when I was growing up, I saw so many people drinking milk, and I only, to be very honest with all of you, started drinking real, like grass-fed, pasture-raised organic milk this year. And I was scared. I was terrified. I was like, this is always something that I've smelled. Like just the smell for me of a conventional like thing of dairy, like I don't know, the one that's really cheap. Sorry, that sounds bad, but like
Yeah,
there's well, there's a brand here for me. It's called like Publix. I have a grocery store named Publix. Publix has this specific one with a red bottle. It's always the one that's on sale. That one for me, it has a smell. And I'm like, how can you possibly drink that? That smells disgusting. Whereas the milk I buy has no smell. It doesn't smell like anything to me. It's fine.
they're real rabbit hole. There is something to that because how you treat and feed your animals, if you have an unhealthy or weird animal, you're not going to get something good out of it.
Yeah.
I one of the other people who totally threw me down this path, hardcore big rabbit hole, is a farmer from Virginia, Joel Salatin,
Mm-hmm.
amazing author, lots of wonderful books, online resources. He spoke to his local abattoir, the butchery,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point they decided that, oh, after they told all the farmers to feed dead cows to their cows, which created mad cow disease,
I
they
remember that.
decided that wasn't a good idea anymore. So instead, take your chicken manure and feed that to your cows. So this local butcher no longer would take any of the cows that were fed that way because he was sick of walking into the cool room where the processed cows were hanging and having it smell like manure.
There's so much to that. That's like the saying, the funny saying that it's you are what you eat.
Yes. And
Just
you are what you eat eats.
yes, you are. So it extends. So when you think about it, yes, you are what you
Yeah.
eat. But what you're eating? You know, it seems like a
And you can
reasonable
take that
question.
further too. Are you vegetarian or vegan? The soil is what your plants are eating. That's
Yes.
that's their diet.
Yes. So I have an apartment. I cannot have chickens, apparently. Allegedly. But my local Whole Foods is where I get a lot of my groceries from. And there's a brand that is newer called Red Barn Regenerative Organics and Pasture Raised. So the eggs are on a regenerative farm, which is fantastic for the environment, means fantastic soil and fantastic land. So they're eating really good stuff. And then that also
Hmm.
means again, their diet is organic and they're pasture raised, so they have room to roam, which is always one of the best things that you can look for with your eggs. Pasture raised is like a bare minimum for me. And it was $1 more expensive than the cheaper eggs. Even at my local grocery store, that's not like a health food store, it wasn't much more money. So I was like, that's
Hmm.
so great. I'm so happy that more brands are recognizing this is a problem and then addressing it by action. Like that's amazing. I'm waiting for Carly to start shipping me eggs or everybody eggs, I should say, because I would trust Carly's eggs. Always.
That's the idea. That
Always.
I completely recommend. Joel Salatin wrote a book with a doctor who started. She was on the verge of like dying. She couldn't eat anything.
Oh my god.
She traveled to his farm. She can eat all his food. She's recovered now. They wrote a book together, Beyond Labels,
Oh, I
and
think
it
I've heard it.
explains pasture raised, organic, all of these cage free.
All the
They
labels.
go through all these things. Sadly, the loopholes to all those labels. And they
Yeah.
just slowly like walk you towards they set it up. It's a really easy book that you can pick up and put down, short sections,
Okay.
and it's designed to be like steps to get you from standard American diet buying all your stuff from like your version of Walmart
Yeah.
and slowly moving towards getting to know your farmer, maybe
Yeah.
growing your own food. And just like step by step, all the little things in between. Like I skipped everything in between. They go through that.
There's a lot when it comes to. knowing your labels. As someone who was recovering with ED, I won't lie, this was very scary for me because I got to a place where I was like, "Oh, awesome, I can eat," and then I went down this rabbit hole. I was like, "Oh no, I'm so scared." But it also kind of it was bad for a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. But after that bad period where I just had to be like, I kind of have to step it back a little bit and just eat again. It
Hmm.
was like, okay, let me just take this slowly, day by day. And now I'm in a good place with labels and stuff where I just read. And if I don't know what something is, I'm going to look it up or I'm probably not going to buy it. If it has natural flavors, I'm probably not going to buy it. If it's made with canola or palm oil, I'm probably not going to buy it. If it's made with avocado
God,
oil
no.
and it's organic, I might buy it. That's a good compromise sometimes. Sometimes. It depends on the
Yep.
brand.
You do the best with the tools you have.
Exactly. Exactly. There's brands that I've researched that are really wonderful. Like Siete is a really great brand for me. That's been a wonderful like tortilla and chip replacement for my family and I.
Oh yeah.
So it's been really helpful. And now I'm noticing other brands are starting to, at least here, that's the good thing about living in Florida. A lot of those smaller brands pick the bigger, more populated areas to try to start out with. So I
Oh
found
yeah.
them. There's been a couple that have faltered or changed, like Primal with the Heinz thing. I mean, that it is what it is. It's part of capitalism. No ethical consumption under capitalism, as they say. But there was just a bunch of really good brands. It's really nice to go to the grocery store and know that I can leave and go down the street and have a farm where I live, but then also find things now in the grocery store where like a year ago that wasn't necessarily the case. It was a lot harder for me to go grocery shopping. Now a lot of brands are recognizing the brands that are being bought by the crunchy people, and the crunchy people seem to be winning. That's all I'm saying. The voting with your money
It
is working.
We're getting a wave.
We're
And
getting a
that
wave.
yes, voting with your money is the best way.
Absolutely. Like to bring it back to witchy wellness. Watch us this way. So my irritable bowel syndrome was really really bad. At least, and that's what I'm calling it. It probably was just a fucked up gut biome and inflammation. Honest to God, probably just from my diet and then also years and years and years of lack of protein in the height of my puberty and when my reproductive system was booming. So for me, you want to know what saved my gut and saves my gut to this day, and all my friends now swear by it. It is peppermint, 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 peppermint,
Yes.
peppermint. That's like sounds so easy peasy, legitimately life saving for me.
Oh yeah. I have that's one of my three
Is it?
oils you asked me about. Yes. That's I wrote that down as number one. I love it for all things stomach issues. Peppermint tea is awesome. If you
Yes.
get a quality peppermint essential oil,
Mhm.
if you're really in it and your stomach is wrecked, you can put a drop of that in your water. It's very minty, but it is also the equivalent of drinking 24 cups of peppermint tea.
Oh crap!
So
Dang.
it probably worth it. I also love it for headaches. If you have a really bad headache, I drop it just straight on my scalp and it helps a lot.
Yes. Oh my god, I didn't. I've never tried it for headaches. I don't get them a ton, but I knew for my
Hmm.
stomach issues. I have some friends who are not as crunchy, so like essential oils and dropping them in is not like their first thing. But there's something on the market that's basically peppermint in a clear pill, and there's like three ingredients. So it's not the cleanest, but it's cleaner than
Yeah.
like Pepto Bismol, which is pink. So, so I have so many of my friends who are kind of coming into the crunchy hooked. They're like, "Wow, peppermint is really good for this
Hmm.
stuff." I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes," and so are other things.
There's like two more that would be the
Yes,
other two that I picked.
yes.
I feel like these are good like intro to like hook people like you're saying. Tea tree,
Oh my god,
great for your skin.
so
Do you have a cut? I wouldn't put it on like a fresh cut,
good.
like
No.
a healing cut,
Yes, yes, yes.
not a fresh cut.
Couple days or a day.
If you're using it directly on your skin, dilute with carrier oils until you know if it reacts. But it's amazing for breakouts if you have like a zit or something like that. That's what I use for my astringent.
Yes.
It's also really good for your hair.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's true.
and then my third oil is super duper good for your hair too. It's rosemary.
Oh, I've
In
heard that.
studies, rosemary oil has been it's as equally effective as Rogaine.
What?
Yep,
Rogaine?
yep.
I hope
So
I hope
like
y'all are listening.
if you wash your hair like one day, do it like the day before, rub some into your scalp and leave it in and wash it out the next day.
Just straight from the essential oil, no diluting, just like
I don't dilute it because
yeah,
it does okay on my skin. I would test it first.
yeah. To always test. If you're putting things
But
on your
if
skin,
it's
always
okay on your
test.
skin, yeah. I made like I had it in a spray bottle for a while. I had a blend. It was lavender, peppermint, rosemary, tea tree, and cedarwood for your
Ooh,
hair.
that also sounds like
But
it
I
would
ran out of
smell
witch
really
hazel.
good. That also just sounds like something that would smell delicious.
It's nice. And if you keep looking, you can find just different blends of oils because you could take some of those out and put different ones in. I think ylang ylang is also really good for your hair. So you could just swip and swap if you don't like how one smells. I know people are really partial to cedarwood,
Yes, yes.
so like you might not want that in there.
There's a couple of those more, I'd say maybe musty smells that some people are, it's real hit or miss, or like warmer, like louder smells is how I guess I
Yeah.
describe cedar wood.
That's it's like my least favorite tree oil,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't dislike it because
Yeah,
I wrote on there also just all tree oils.
all
So
true
I
oils.
love all of them for anti-anxiety, everything relaxing. I
Yes.
think Granfer, I think that gives me more vivid dreams sometimes.
Really?
It's like hit and miss. It's hard to say because half the time I don't remember. But sometimes, like when I do get some really weird ones, I'm like, what did I put in the diffuser last night? It's usually fur.
I I remember when I started on my health stuff, and we'll go to herbs after this. I was lighting candles from Bath and Body Works every day after I cleaned, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so healthy. And not to say that it's really dependent on everyone's like specific situation, obviously, but like I didn't
Mhm.
know. So yeah, I was with the knowledge I had at the time. Hell yeah, I was making great changes. But then I think I found out because I just randomly decided to look at the ingredients on just the wallflowers alone. Just the wallflowers alone. And the warnings that come with a Bath and Body Works, like, forget the ingredients, they're awful. But the warnings that you should not be an animal if you're near one, you should not be a woman, forget pregnant. You shouldn't exist during one of these, essentially, is what Bath and Body Works was saying. And I was like, okay, what's in my candle? And then I was like, all garbage. Get out of my house.
Yeah, that's one like definitely if you can get rid of I'm sorry, if you can get rid of weird smelly crap, do it. Like
Please.
your candles are gonna have horrible things in them likely. Check
Unless
your
you
laundry
made.
detergent.
Oh my god.
Switching detergents like now, I love my parents. They still use the detergent I grew up with. We can smell them before they get through the front door of our house.
Isn't it crazy what you do, what happens to your like senses when you change?
I feel like I'm a bloodhound or something. It's like someone will walk into the store I work at, and I'm at the back of the store. They walk in the very front door. I'm like, oh, took a shower in cologne
I
today.
can't stand cologne
What
anymore.
is this?
I cannot. I can't do it. I cannot do it. Like our detergent
No.
now, I used to my I still might. I think it just depends on the environment I'm in and stress. But I have been prone to eczema in my life. Not a surprise with my gut issues. But I
Mhm.
got to tell you, it's not nearly as bad now that I use a detergent that doesn't have any type of fragrance at all.
What a crazy idea. It's not like it's sitting on your skin all day long.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, why do I only get it at the back of my leg? I wore leggings all the time and all day every day. Why is it only there? Why is it? I don't get it. I don't understand. I understand. It's because artificial
Oh
fragrances
yeah.
are in synthetic fragrance. Huh? They don't
Yeah.
have to tell you what's in them as well, which is another thing with natural flavors. But in general
Right?
now, like I nothing is fragranced. Like none of my skincare is fragranced, none of my
hmm
lotions are fragranced, or my body wash is not fragranced. Like nothing has fragrance in it. Like I think the only reason I smell good
Yeah.
sometimes is because of essential oils.
Yep, those are the only fragrances I have anymore. Like
That's
I
what
got the wool balls for the dryer. We put
oh
oils on
wool balls,
those.
yes.
And like shameless plug, if you like Young Living, I have a link in my
Oh
Instagram bio. You can go
yes.
there. You can help me out. But it doesn't have to be Young Living. Find a quality brand that actually tells you what's in it
Mm-hmm.
And use that. Use whatever your heart desires. Just make sure it's actually what it's like claiming to be.
Yes, please. Please, God. That's the thing with a lot of products for the crunchy or even less crunchy people is like greenwashing or health washing. It'll be like all natural. All natural means nothing. You know,
Yeah,
it's just, you gotta read and unfortunately do a lot of research here. It's very
yeah.
creepy, but
The detox dilemma. It's an environmental lawyer. She's got a really nice toxic
I think I follow
guide
her.
thing.
Is it on? Is she on
Yeah.
Instagram? I think I follow her. I think you shared
Yes,
her,
she
and I was
is.
like,
She
yes,
is.
yes, 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 yes,
Like it's like Wendy something.
yes, yes. I do follow her.
Yes, she's
God,
the
she's so
bomb.
knowledgeable. That, and then you
Oh
shared
yeah.
someone else who does like testing of a bunch of products, and then like gives you
Mm,
the
yeah.
I forget what their Instagram handle is, but they're another very good account.
Is that the Mamavation
Yes,
one?
yes, yes. I love
Yeah.
that account. That's a wonderful account.
Oh
When
yeah.
I'm
That's good.
overwhelmed, she's fantastic. So many resources.
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good.
Lifesavers.
But those are the three essential oils, and I'm gonna make a note, by the way, to anyone who is like, "Give me the oils, I want to leave." I'm making a note of all of them, so you can have the resource at a different time. Don't worry, I got you. Um, in terms of herbs for ailments, I know we were gonna talk about that too. Do you have any herbs that you really, really love or would recommend to like most people, any people?
I broke this like kind of into three sections. I have
Okay.
herbs and then I have like wild weeds that grow in my yard that I haven't used yet personally, but I will maybe eventually. And then a really fun one, seed cycling. If you've heard about seed cycling, it's interesting. So the three herbs I mentioned, I laugh because you just posted something the other day about being Italian and like
I think I know what
just
you're gonna
good things.
say.
Oregano,
Yes.
thyme, rosemary, like they're fabulous. They're wonderful.
So
They're
good.
delicious. I love Italian food and like they just go great on almost everything, meats, veggies, whatever you want. But specifically another here. Oh, I got a lot of information on him from this one.
Ooh, that aligns right up
So
my
he
alley.
recommends these herbs because oregano and rosemary helps with angiogenesis, so you can grow new blood vessels when you need them, or it helps deter blood vessels from growing towards like cancer
Oh
and help
wow.
deter cancer growth.
Oh wow.
Thyme and rosemary help protect your DNA from just different encounters in the environment.
Oh, that's crazy.
And then one of my other favorite resources is Dr. Mark Hyman,
I
and
think I
he just
also
shared
follow
about
him.
him the other day. It was like perfect timing.
Yes.
Um, Almost all of them are antioxidant. They help with digestion. They're antimicrobial. They're phenomenal and they're delicious.
And they're so good. And honestly, with a lot of herbs, I know we talked about essential oils, you can get them in tinctures. Just always, again, check with the brand. Like when I'm not feeling well, I'll slap some oregano under that tongue. And God, it's awful. I am Italian. I love oregano, but that's rough. It is rough, but let me tell
Yeah.
you, I feel pretty good after. It's this moments of
Oh yeah.
displeasure for I feel a lot better now because I believe and correct me if I'm wrong. I also am prone to like cysts. I believe it also helps with inflammation in the body. One of them. I don't remember which one. I have it. I have it in my
Oh yeah.
toiletry. I just don't remember which one it
I
is.
have it on my notes. Uh,
It's not
my
basil.
notes are
Is it
too
basil?
messy.
I think it's oregano. I have a
I think it is too.
I have a big giant
Oh,
thing of oregano.
thyme also supports lung health.
Yes.
All sorts of things.
I love that. I love that because those are also just the herbs I put on quite honestly everything. Whether it should be or shouldn't be
Just
there.
about.
It just goes there.
Just about.
It just yeah. It's just it goes there. That's where I like flavor.
Right?
It just tastes good.
They go well together
Yeah,
with
like if
everything
you make like
else.
pork shoulder or I don't know, like beef tenderloin, that those herbs in itself are just gonna make it delicious.
Even just one of my favorite things, French onion roast
Oh my
in the
god.
crock pot all day long. It's literally like salt, pepper, and thyme.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's the one that also uses like Dijon mustard, but that's like it.
That sounds
And it's
delicious.
fabulous.
That sounds delicious. I got an Instapot for Christmas 2 years ago, and I do love it. I do think the crock pot. I miss it. I miss my crock pot. I something
I love my
just
crock pot.
I could make like simmer like because I don't use candles anymore around the holiday season now. I could use a crock pot to make like simmer pots of like orange apple slices, cinnamon, and just let it go on a simmer.
Yeah.
Let it go and then
Oh
make the
yeah.
house smell delicious. And then I could even drink that. and then it's decided, and
Mm,
then it's
bonus.
bonus points, you know. Is there anything that's like witchy or wellness or more natural that you really really love that seems a little maybe out there or not related to what we talked about?
Okay, the seed cycling might
Yes,
sound out there to people.
I'm excited. I don't
If
know a
you
lot.
are, yeah, if you're a woman and you have a rough time with your period, if it's you got bad PMS, whatever, bloating, I don't know, look into it. You should try it. The first 14 days of your cycle, you have 1 to 2 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds and flax seeds.
Ooh,
However you want, whatever, just eat them every day for
yeah,
the first 14 days. And then 14 to roughly 28, whatever that may
whatever it
be,
is.
you have 1 to 2 tablespoons of sesame and sunflower seeds.
Interesting.
I was super hesitant to try this. Like I said, growing up, I used to always cringe at crunchy things. And so my brain always battles with it still. But I'm on like 3 months of trying this, and my breasts no longer get tender. The lymph
What?
node that was in my armpit that would swell up every single month
You have that too?
doesn't do that anymore. I haven't thrown up from cramps for 3 months.
What? Oh, I will try it then. I don't get that
I
bad
still get
anymore, but
cramps a little bit,
yeah.
but I mean, it's only been 3 months too. And I'm not perfect. I don't get them in every single day. Sometimes
Yeah.
I forget,
Yeah.
but I'm getting there.
That's crazy. I will absolutely try it. I just um, I'm still doing it. I'm doing, oh god, like moon cycling with the period, which is crazy. It's so
Mhm.
weird once I started noticing how the full moon matches my ovulation and the new moon matches my period. I was like, I feel like a vampire or something. I feel like a magical creature. This is quite magical.
It's like that clip from The Office when Dwight says he wishes he could menstruate. I think of that like every time. I'm like, I want to be mad, but he's right.
He's right. That's crazy. I have two cysts. I just found out in my left breast, and I was like, oh my god, I must be dying because they're right against each other. So I thought they
Hmm.
feel like one giant lump. So
Yeah.
the doctor was like, nope, all good. They're just two cysts. And I was like, well, why does that happen? Well, I don't know. I was like, oh. They were like, you might just be prone to cysts. And I was like, I mean, that might be true. My mother gets them, and they're like this big. I was like, I will not end up like you. Like you are like a preview of my future, or you can be, but I can still change it, and I choose no.
Who knows? Maybe the seeds will help.
I'm gonna try the seeds. I'm gonna try.
Go for crunchy.
I'm gonna vote for crunchy. I'm like, mom, you gotta eat the seeds. It'll help with your menopause, and she's gonna be like, get that shit away from me.
She'll be like, sure,
Yeah, she'll
thanks.
be like, thank you.
These are also my magic beans that grow a giant beanstalk.
Yeah, she's gonna be like, what else? What else? What else do you want from me? Because we were talking about Christmas, and I was like, I want nothing with fragrances. I want nothing food related. I will do my own food shopping. You run any meats by me that you buy. And she was just
Yep.
like, you sound like me when I was 19 or 20 and I was raising you vegan, and everyone told me I was stupid, but it was what everyone was saying was healthy. I was like, I can't even be mad, but I'm still mad. It's like I raised you. Like, how dare you?
Yeah, I'm getting to that point. Luckily, my mom, like last year, she wanted to do Thanksgiving together. She's like, "How about I give you a list of the ingredients I need, and you go and get the ones that you want?" Like, sure,
Yeah,
sounds
I
good.
I love now that I host the holidays because I'm like, oh, I don't care if I have to buy everything. You don't have to buy anything. I will buy it. I will buy
I
it.
know I can eat it,
Yep. I will buy it. I know I can eat it. I will cook for you. All is well. All is good. There's also a
right?
bakery near me that partners with my farm that only uses like real quality ingredients. It's it's what makes me so hesitant about leaving Florida because I know I can go buy like a cake and know that it's not
Yeah,
garbage for my family. Like last year, we we celebrated Christmas, but it was secret Yule. And there was like, it was wooden little goats everywhere. My mother-in-law, who's so Christian, was like, "Ooh, little goats! Ooh, little log! I love it!" And I was just like, "What?" But I bought a Yule log from them, and it was just simple, no fluff or anything. It had like a tiny little gingerbread they made in stock, and then it just looked, it was a Yule log because I didn't have time that year. And I was so thankful that I could just depend on this little family who was partners with the farm to give me quality crap because they buy all their stuff from the farm. So I was like, oh, this is fantastic.
yeah.
It's so good.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah,
they're right next to each other. They're like best pals. They do collabs. They're so cute. They're adorable
that's
every year.
awesome.
So every year they posted Halloween stuff this year. I had to twist my arm to not go get them. I was like, I don't need it, but I do. So maybe I'll go tomorrow. But yeah, that's yeah, that's I don't know. I sorry I went on a Yule tangent. I mean, the holidays are approaching very rapidly.
Oh yeah,
It's November this week. Crazy.
it
It
flies.
flies.
There's snow outside.
See, I saw that. I was like, does it not understand?
Growing up here, like that, I always joke about that. Like that's my prime example is I love Halloween. It's my favorite holiday by far, always has been. It's like a love-hate relationship though, because growing up, I always had to plan my costume to fit with winter jackets
I saw that.
because it was always like a toss-up if it would snow.
I saw people were like me growing up having to wear like a costume over regular clothes because I'd be cold. And I was like, I never considered that, and that makes me sad. Whereas like here, I wanted to be a witch with a really cool like oh god, velvet outfit, and I'm like dying in 95-degree heat, and I'm like, I look so good.
I remember in high school, I was gonna meet friends in town and we were gonna walk around all night. And I get pretty cold pretty easy. I'm not gonna lie. I lived here, but I'm still like a wimp. So I literally just planned my costume to be warm. I'm like, I'm gonna be a hobo and I'm gonna put on like 4 layers of clothing and I'll be good. I was the only one who was warm.
I, I love that. See, like we get a lot of shit here in Florida, like with people in Miami that dress half naked. But like, honest to God, sometimes it's 105, and what are you gonna do? The clubs are outside. Like, if you're gonna go to a party, you're already sweating just in proximity. You shouldn't want to die.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
I
even
would
think we
still
can go to the.
rather live here
Yeah,
because
that's
I would
fair.
just stay at home naked in front of a fan. Like, I don't
We
know how
honestly
y'all
do.
function.
Oh, we do. This little tiny jacket, my apartment's at 68 degrees constantly. Constantly. Despite it being, let's see, 81 outside. That's actually fall. We
That
planned
just
to move.
breaks my brain because it's like 30 maybe outside.
My god. See, we plan, hopefully, next year to move out of state, and that would be so nice. But we're thinking somewhere with, like, milder weather. So maybe, like, a Tennessee, where the winters are winters, but they're not winters. You know what I mean?
You still have fall and spring
Yes. The leaves
because like
change.
we have them, but they're really short and they're my two favorite seasons.
Oh, no, same. I was just thinking that. I was like, that one week where we had the weather dip to the 60s, I was like, oh, that was so nice. And now it's gone, and I'm sweating, and I get a sunburn driving.
Oh, yeah.
Driving. I have to put sunscreen or like zinc on just to go 5 minutes away. Because I looked at my arm the other day and I was like, why am I red? Or why is this part of my body super dark?
Hey, I mean, if it's sunny enough on a snowy day, you can still get burnt and sometimes pretty good because it'll reflect off the
Oh,
snow.
that's true. Dang. There's no winning. Uh,
Softball after school, there's a year we usually ended up trying to play too early and it would be kind of snowy. We had a tournament one weekend. I got both a sunburn and a cold because it was snowing.
See, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, but that's not fair. You need to pick one. Like, that's
Yes, pick one.
ridiculous. Like, pick one. Like, don't send me out here with sunscreen and a parka. Don't do it. I'll be so mad.
How am I burning and cold?
That's so. Oh, I'd be so pissed. Because I'd be like, that just seems aggressive now. It doesn't seem necessary. I can't wait to not live here anymore. My husband recently was like, Florida's even palm trees are grass. They're not even trees. I was like, what? He was like, it's a grass. It's not a tree. I want to be around trees. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Also, that sucks.
Yeah. I would lose my mind. To bring it back to like witchy wellness, being in the trees, that makes me feel happy. It makes me feel calm. I giggle whenever like we come across a movie where people like leave the city and they go into like the backwoods and everybody's afraid. I'm like, that's like the complete opposite for me. When I'm like going down a busy street somewhere and there's tall buildings, mm-mm. put me out in the woods. I don't want to be able to see how I get out of them.
No,
I just want to be completely encased in trees.
I love that. Same. Like here we have like Miami and stuff. I won't go to Miami. I would rather fly somewhere else than go to Miami in a 30-minute
I've
drive.
been there once.
You have. That must have been horrible.
It was, we weren't even supposed to be there. Our flight got canceled because it snowed in Chicago.
They
So we
have.
got tattoos on like our second to last day. And I had one on my lower leg, so I had to keep it covered too. So we're walking around like downtown Miami. It's April. I'm wearing leggings. I'm hot. I
Not
can't get in the water.
not April. No, see, it's
I'm like,
awful.
who is hot in April?
You should see it. Like the feels like this year. I've never seen it get this bad, but the feels like in August went to 110.
That's insane. I mean, we had days where it was like 80 some degrees in like mid-September here, and that's like,
That's like
that's
crazy.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still crazy, the 110, because that was the feels like. So it was 95, and the humidity brought it all the way to 110. So it felt like boiling soup outside. Like the AC was doing its best, but you can only do so much.
Yeah.
So
I
we're.
growing up, my parents went to Florida with my siblings who were all much older than me when they were really young. And my mom would try and convince my dad that they should go to Las Vegas because of the dry heat. So they did. They loved it. They'd tell me about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I haven't been to either. Went to Florida when I was like 12, and that is just insane, the humidity. My God. And then they brought me with them to Las Vegas when I was like 18. Whew, night and day. I'm like, it is night. It's like, okay, that's doable. This is doable. Like I can still breathe. I don't
It's
feel like I
so
came out of
different.
the dryer with a wet blanket.
We went to Michigan this year, and Michigan didn't get that hot because we were in the spring. But 70 didn't feel like 70. And also, I noticed that I'm like a lizard person because being here and in the humidity, my skin's supple. It's beautiful. It's so nice. It wasn't that cold. It really wasn't. It was maybe dipping down in like the 60s at night when I was in bed in like the 70s during the day, which is beautiful weather. My lips were dry, cracked, and bleeding. I was like,
We get wild, wild humidity shifts here.
really?
Like between the seasons, it's yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy outside. I love it, but it scares me here sometimes. Specifically where I am, not in other places. When I went to Knoxville, Michigan, I was like, I love it here. When I came back, I was like, I'm in the swamp again. Nothing grows in the
Yeah.
swamp. Well, that's not true. The swamp is a really good ecosystem, but it's very scary here. It's not good for me. Thank you so much for doing this event with me. We got off the topic a couple times, but I think it all relates.
It all comes around.
Yeah, where you're living is part of your diet, and we believe that you should be in frolicking in a forest, maybe even naked if you can slash want to. That's super
At
witchy.
least bare feet
Yeah, bare feet. That's super duper witchy. That's like,
when there's not snow.
yeah, yeah. Or boiling humidity in the sunlight. Just too much.
Yeah, blacktop.
No, I can't. I can't do that. But if you do not follow Carly, do you have access to the chat? Are you able to put your yoga or your I'm sorry, your yoga.
Yeah, I'll
Your
put that in there.
thank you. I was gonna say you know what I'm saying. Her
Yes.
Instagram handle is Yogi Homesteader, so I think I just went to say your Yogi Homesteader instead of your
Yeah.
Instagram. But that's what I was referring to, her Instagram. So if you are interested in following Carly's homesteading and natural remedies, she posts them all the time. So you absolutely should follow her. That's where they'll be. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna edit this down.